Setting up Voicemeeter Banana can be kind of tricky at times, but I'm going to go through everything that I do to set up Voicemeeter Banana in this video. Check it out. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Beatwalker. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going over the Voicemeeter Banana setup tutorial in 2021 with any updated things that I've learned in the past. I've gathered some new information in my Discord in the past couple weeks or so. So I'm going to go through the complete setup guide, everything you need to know to get it working properly without any bugs or any issues or anything like that. Let's get right into it. All right, so you just can search Voicemeeter Banana in Google, and the first one that pops up is the one you want. All right, so you want to come down and just hit download on the package. That'll be fine. Once you've downloaded that, you can come back up and go over to the virtual audio cable because you will need that as well. So you just want to download whatever version you have. So I have the Windows version here. Just extract both of those files there and then go into the Voicemeeter setup and run Voicemeeter Pro setup. So obviously I already have it installed, so I'm just going to click out of there. Now when you do go into install the Voicemeeter driver, you want to install the version that you have. So this setup's just the 32 and then this is the 64. That's the one I installed. Now you want to make sure you run this as an administrator or else it's not going to work properly. So yes, I already have it installed, so I'm just going to leave it, run that, and then once you do that, make sure you restart your computer and then start from here. All right, so once you have it installed and restarted, you can pull it up, but you're not ready to go yet. You want to make sure you set up your audio devices properly before you get into Voicemeeter Banana. So you'll right click on the volume tab, open sound settings, and then your output device is going to be Voicemeeter input, right? And then your microphone can stay whatever microphone source you have going right now. I have the Rodecaster Pro, so I'm just going to leave that. And then you want to go into your sound control panel and make sure the playback device is Voicemeeter input as well, set to default. Now the default communications can be whatever you have set for your speakers. That's fine. That really doesn't matter as much as the default device for Voicemeeter input, because that's where all the audio is going to route through. One thing to keep in mind, and one thing that was brought up by a guy named Pushing Trees in my Discord, which I will link his Twitch down below, be sure to check him out, and shouts to him for this tip, is you want to make sure you set Voicemeeter's hertz and bit rates to match your microphone output. So what you can do to check that is if you go to recording tab, then you'll check your microphone, go to properties, advanced. As you can see, this is set to 48,000 hertz, 24 bit. So you want to make sure it matches. So what we can do is go back to your playback devices, Voicemeeter input, properties, advanced. And as you can see, I have it matching here, but there's a lot of different variations there. So you make sure you check your microphone, make sure it matches properly. That way you don't have any audio issues in the future. And you can also match it with your speakers just to be on the safe side if you ever want to switch back and forth. So great tip by Pushing Trees. I appreciate that. Now over to Voicemeeter. All right, so once that's set, you can come back into Voicemeeter and it's gonna look like a lot of stuff's going on in here, okay? But the main things you wanna focus on is, here are your input devices here. These are your virtual input devices, so your desktop audio and stuff like that. And then these are your output sections, which will go out to a source. So your main sources are gonna be a 1, 2, 3, that's any of your headphones, speakers, stuff like that. So trust me, I'm going to dig into what all of these mean and what the routings are and stuff like that, and what you need to be worried about based on what setup you have. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is set up the hardware output. So I'm going to use speakers for the time being, and then I'll be able to hear it in my headphones here whenever I decide to set it up and play it. If you have additional outputs like speakers or a audio interface that you want music or volume to go out to, you can set that up. All right, so we're just gonna go left to right here. So your first source is you're probably gonna want your first source always to be your microphone. That's just my personal preference and what seems to work best for me. So what you're going to notice is this WDM version and then the MME version. So it's just two different types of drivers that Voicemeeter uses. You can use the first one. If it's not working well, you can switch it off and go to the next driver, and that might work a little bit better for you. So obviously when that's set up, you'll see it start playing in here. If you're not seeing it pop right away, you can reset your interface and then close this and open it back up, and it should be working properly. You'll find a lot of times that if something's not working, a quick reset of Voicemeeter Banana usually does a trick. Just keep that in mind. This next input, I mainly use it for my game audio. So if I play on a separate, Xbox, PlayStation, I can bring that audio in through the capture device. We use a HD capture there, but again, you can use whatever external audio source you want to use there as well. And this third one is going to be what I use this for is Discord, and we're going to actually use the virtual audio cable for this. So if you remember, you installed the virtual audio cable, and it's just going to be kind of out there. You want to make sure you select cable output from here. And while we're in the setup of this, I'll go ahead and set up Discord. That way it can kind of go hand in hand and it'll work perfect for you. All right, so just a quick plug. This is my Discord. I have it linked down below as well if you want to come and join in. And after this, if you have any questions, please feel free to come on in. I'm more than happy to help you out if you have any audio issues. All right, so to set this up, you'll want to go to your user settings there, voice and audio. Your output device is going to be the cable input, so virtual audio cable input. And you could always test this out by hitting mic check, mic check. Now you're not going to hear it right now because we haven't set it up in OBS, which is where I'm recording this from. All right, so once you have that set up, that is pretty much it for your inputs. Now the desktop audio is going to go through this Voicemeeter aux input by default. So just as a sample, I'm going to play a song through Spotify and you'll see the volume come in here. Now this is running through a separate source, which is a Voicemeeter aux input. Again, you're not hearing it right now because I haven't set it up in OBS, but I will do that shortly. But I just wanted to show you that that does come through as a separate source. So you basically have your microphone separately, and you have your game audio, Discord, and desktop as another separate source. So you have two different sources that you can work with. Could put all of them in one source, that's okay as well, but I would recommend you keep your microphone separate. That way you can mess with some of the EQing and compression that it has in here if you don't have that elsewhere to work with. All right, so once that's set up, I'm gonna bring down OBS and we'll just pretend like I don't have any sources in here. We'll add in the audio input capture, Voicemeeter, and the main one we're going to select for this is Voicemeeter output. Okay, so as you can see now, Voicemeeter is coming through the bottom there. Now what I did is just pause the normal recording device, which was my Rodecaster Pro that I was using before, and you see it's coming in there perfect. So the Voicemeeter output that we just set up here is actually going to be going to be this B1. So right now B1 is Voicemeeter output. I know this is kind of confusing, but again, refer to the doc and it explains it just as clear as me going through this now. And how to change that is I want B1 to be by itself, so I can just set the rest of these to B2. Now we got to add the other audio to come in. So what I'm going to do is I will add another audio input capture, and this is going to be Voicemeeter aux. We'll say Voicemeeter aux, but you can call it whatever you want. You can name it desktop audio, or I have it called Spotify sound just because I mainly use it for Spotify. We'll do that. And then this is going to be Voicemeeter aux output. Okay. So once I have that there, now Spotify is playing. Okay, so now you have them separate, and if you want to test Discord with it, we'll go here. So I'm gonna do a mic check. Test, 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 test. As you can see, the Discord came through. Now, one thing that you might have noticed with the Discord is a little bit of crumbly stuff going on. Now, I'm glad that actually made that sound, because I've had a lot of questions about fixing any Discord clicking or crackling audio. So one thing you can do is go in here to the system settings in Voicemeeter and actually boost these up. So I'll set all these to 1024 and make sure this is set to 48 Hertz as well. You might need to restart this really quickly, so I'm just going to do that. And we'll do another quick test. Mic check, mic check. It's still doing it. So another quick fix is you can go into your task manager. Right click on task manager, run as administrator. Go into details. Audio DG, right click on that, set priority to high, change priority, and then set your affinity to 1 CPU. So I'm going to use CPU 2. You can try 1, 2, 3, depending on how many you have. 2 usually works for me. And then I will close this out. Go back into Discord. Mic check, check. Mic check, check. So now we're pretty clear. That seems to always work for me. I know other people have had success with making everything 48 Hertz. Some people have success with raising the buffering levels a little higher. I don't like to keep those too high, because then you get some delay in there as well. All right, so one of the last things I want to mention is these A1, A2, A3s correlate with the hardware outputs that you have set up. So all of the input 1 Discord virtual inputs are set up to A1 by default, but if you wanted to hear them somewhere else, you could just click A2 and add those in there. I don't have A1 selected on my mic because I don't want to hear the feedback in my mic, but if you just want to test to see if it's working, you can hit A1 and it'll bring it up real quick. As far as the volumes for B1 and B2, they're right here. You can adjust these as needed. I like to leave them at 0 and adjust the volume in OBS. And then the volumes for A1, 2, and 3 are right here as well, and you can adjust those as needed. So that is really it for the setup. You want to make sure you play with some of these, do some recordings, test out the regular output and the aux output to see which ones work best for you. And if you're still having issues, be sure and hit me up and see if we can figure it out, see if we can get a fix for it. And the last thing I'm going to mention is on my previous video, I did a controller setup, which you can actually set up a controller with this. Sort of have it set up like the Go XLR where you can do that. I don't really use it because I don't have too much stuff going on, but that's up to you if you can do that. You can mess around with some of the EQs in here as well. They're really great. Right click on EQ. Figure out what works best for you with your microphone, and yeah, just have fun with it. So yeah, if this helped you out, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you like stuff like this or anything music related, studio related, be sure to give me a subscription. I'd really appreciate it because I have a lot more stuff coming in the future. Thanks, guys.